Hey everybody, welcome back. There's a new driver out today, 572.42. There is something of interest for us with DLSS 4. Some people have had issues not being able to enable DLSS 4. You go through the process either with DLSS Swapper or NVIDIA Profile Inspector. And for whatever reason, when you go into the game, if you check using the registry edit hack that brings up the little indicator in the lower left hand corner which version of DLSS you have, it doesn't show DLSS 4. The problem is resolved with this driver. You can see right here, DLSS 4 resolved the compatibility issue caused by version mismatches between current and updated dynamic link library files. And those are the DLL files that we use to swap in and out to update DLSS. The only solution to this, the way you implement this solution, is you have to perform a clean driver installation. Do be aware that this does wipe all of your settings in NVIDIA Control Panel. So I would recommend, if you're going to do this, if you're going to do the clean install, I would go into NVIDIA Control Panel, take pictures of your general settings and your game settings for MSFS2020 and 24, whatever other game that you play. It's not that big a deal if you have a copy of all the settings. You can just reset them very quickly. However, having that is very important before you do the clean install. So just come over here to your NVIDIA Control Panel, manage 3D settings. That's what you're worried about. And then just either write down or take pictures of all your settings. And then come here into the program settings. And you've got Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 and 24 in my case. And again, just go through and take pictures, or however you want to record what settings that you have. And then once you get the clean driver install done, it's usually you've only changed, like in this particular case, I've changed just a couple of settings from the defaults. So once I set the default in the global settings, literally the entire thing will take you just 2 or 3 minutes. So it's really not that big a deal, but you just be aware of it before you do it. So I'm going to be the guinea pig here. I'm not going to do the clean install because I don't have the issue running DLSS 4. And now let's install. And again, I want a custom installation. There's no update for the physics system software anyway, and I do not want the HD audio driver. This is where, if you're having the issue with DLSS 4, you want to check this box for clean installation. But again, restores all driver settings and profiles to the default. So if you're having that issue, definitely run the clean installation. I'm just going to go here and run this. The other thing to be aware of is if you run a clean driver installation, you won't be able to roll back the driver in the NVIDIA app. Just be aware of that as well. And there you have it. My driver is installed. I'm going to check a couple things now here real quick. Let's take a look at a few things. Number one, updating the driver hasn't changed anything in DLSS Swapper. So in other words, my DLSS files that I had set up before I changed the driver, before I updated the driver, are the same, which is what I would expect, but that's now confirmed. The other thing I would recommend you guys doing, if you are using the FrameGen mod, is to update your FSR 3.1 file. Now, we use this in combination with the DLSS file for the FrameGen mod. If you update the DLSS file, I don't see why updating the FSR3 file wouldn't be important as well, because you're using that as part of the mod. So if you come here to FSR 3.1, I believe the version that I had was 3.1.0, and I just updated it to the latest version, 3.1.3. Would definitely recommend doing that. And if you're running an AMD card, I would absolutely update the FSR 3.1 file, because that's the AMD equivalent of DLSS. So that's all normal. The next thing I'd like to take a look at is NVIDIA Control Panel. And what I meant to say, of course, was NVIDIA Profile Inspector. 2.4.0.9 is the version we want. Microsoft Flight Simulator is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We come down here to 5 common, and it has changed those settings. So what we want to do, enable DLSS override. We want to change this to on. DLSS forced preset letter, you can always use latest, but I would change it to preset K, which is the latest one, but that's the one I want to have. If you have a 40 or 50 series card, I would set this DLSS FG, I would set that to the enable DLL override. I would set that to on. I don't have a 40 or 50 series card, so I'm going to leave it. And I would also set the forced preset letter for that to always use latest if you have a 40 or 50 series card. This one here, DLSS RR, enable DLL override, I would also set to on and overridden by the latest available. Regardless of which RTX card you have, I would set that. I would not change the forced preset level for that. Interestingly enough, it did not change my power management mode, but it did change the DLSS settings. So go into NVIDIA Profile Inspector and check those settings as well. So Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, my guess is it's going to have changed those as well. And it has. So enable DLL override, on, forced preset letter, preset K. Again, the frame gen files, if you have a 40 or 50 series card, I do not. And then for any RTX card, the DLSS RR override, I would set to on. Remember, we have to click apply changes. I forgot to do that for Flight Sim 2020. Let me make sure real quick that it set those. So click apply changes when you've made the changes. And it didn't, so I got to do this again real quick. Don't forget to apply your changes is the moral of the story. Apply changes, that's set. That's how you set up NVIDIA Profile Inspector, and do go in and do that if you update this driver. And now let's hop into the sim and take a look. All right, here we are in the sim. This is Flight Sim 24. Let's put on our stats here so we can get a look at the stats over there on the right-hand side. And we are in the Britain Norman Islander today, and we're going to do something pretty cool. We're going to do our first landing in Flight Sim 24 in St. Barts. And as you can see, the wind is rather sprightly. You can see right here, 050 at 18 knots. So should be interesting. Let's go rotating beacon on, mixtures and props full forward. We'll go master and battery switches on. We'll come up top here. We'll go fuel valves open. We'll go fuel pumps on. We gotta do mags. In each sim, I have to do the mags a different way. So we'll do the mags. Let's come down here, take a look outside. Make sure there's nobody out there to kill or maim, and there is not. So we'll go toes on the brakes. I need external power supply on. That's the other thing I need. And let's crack the throttles, toes on the brakes, and starboard prop is on. Let's go left side, prop clear. Yeah, wrong one. Good start on that side. All right, you can see in the lower left-hand corner, we do have render preset K, DLSS 4. Let's lean the mixtures for taxi. Get the Garmin going here. External power supply coming off. Nav and strobe lights coming on. Release the parking brake. And this should be a fun one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go over to St. Martin just to get my eyes in. I like doing at least one landing before I head to St. Barts. Especially in this case. We'll keep an eye on that windsock because it's pretty sprightly. Make sure we got our lights on. We'll go landing light on because we're going near an active runway. Alright. Alright, wind is at our tail right now. Final approach course looks clear. And I'm telling you, this Grand Cast Airport looks fantastic in Flight Sim 24. Weather looks a bit nasty today. but that's alright. Alright, mixtures and props full forward. That's good, that's good. Alright, fuel pumps are on. We'll go with notch of flaps in. Full left aileron correction for the wind here. And let's get on center line, mixtures and props full forward. Set the altimeter, that was clearly not correct. Alright, heading indicator checks with the runway number. And one last thing, let's turn the altimeter or transponder on. Alright, takeoff power is coming in. Takeoff power is set. Nose is going to weather vane into the wind because that wind acts on the tail. And this is pretty close to the crosswind capability of the airplane. 18 knots. I mean, that was hard to keep it on. Hard to keep it on center line right there. Alright, let's bring the power back just a touch. We'll bring the props back. And we'll keep climbing. Not looking real pretty over by St. Barts at the moment. So we'll have to see, but man, this looks so beautiful. I'm telling you, when Flight Sim 24 is on, it is on. It is just so beautiful. Roll in a little bit of trim here. Alright. It's 1,000 feet AGL. Let's put the flaps up here. We'll drop the nose a little bit for that. We'll go fuel pumps off. Check our fuel pressures. Fuel pressures are looking just fine. And the other thing that's looking just fine is this driver so far. Smooth as can be. Smooth as can be. You can see GPU utilization is down. Definitely tell that. Okay, that's what I thought. Alright, we're coming up on 1,500 feet. We'll bring the power back to 23. We'll bring the props back just a little bit more. Drop the nose. We're in the St. Barts livery today because we do not have... We have a Transaguilla livery, but we don't have... We don't have an Aguila Air Services livery yet for 2024. I haven't tried the one from 2020. Maybe it works. Who knows? Haven't tried it yet. Alright, now one of the things I'm trying to learn. So funny, I've been around airplanes my entire life. I've been a pilot for 15 years and I'm still trying to learn. You'd think you'd be pretty decent at it by now, but one of the things I'm trying to learn is to use sight picture. And what I mean by that is, and I'm going to do a video on this at some point, but to use the, not to be so focused on the instruments, but rather to use the gap between here and the horizon. When that gap gets bigger, my airspeed is increasing. When that gap gets smaller, like it is right now, my airspeed is decreasing. And your altitude is increasing. So I want to start learning how to fly by outside references and really make that a focus. Because it's really... See that? I want to learn to have a more stable airplane. I feel like I'm always chasing, because the thing is that a lot of the instruments that you're looking at, particularly the pitot-static instruments, airspeed, vertical speed, altimeter. A lot of these instruments are lagging indicators. They're going to be a split second behind what's actually going on. The one thing that's not a split second behind what's actually going on with the airplane is the sight picture gap. Sight picture gap never lies. See that? See that gap getting smaller right there? Watch the airspeed over here. Now the airspeed started dropping the second that gap started going up. Or it started decreasing rather. And you saw how long it took for, and now let's watch that. See, that gap is getting bigger. That gap here is getting bigger. It's going to take a second for that thing to react. But if you're paying attention, you can be ahead, basically ahead of the instruments. See, as soon as that nose drops, just pull that up, because that's a decrease in airspeed right there. And see that? That's an increase in airspeed, or a decrease right there. Anyway, won't harp on that too much, but we'll go fuel pumps on here. And taking a look outside, and of course now when we pull the power, you expect the nose to drop. That's the whole idea. So, but I want to start flying with a more stable airplane. I always feel like I'm chasing the airplane. I don't want to feel like that anymore. Alright. Everything is still looking beautiful. Let's get into the flap range here at 115 knots. We'll go first notch of flaps. Take a look down. Final's looking good. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way, fellas. Hope you got your significant others something lovely for Valentine's Day. I got Mrs. Islandson Pilot white roses. That's what she loves. And we're gonna head to this really nice little Italian restaurant, which we're very, very happy about. Alright, there's the white arc, second notch of flaps. And now what I'm looking for is, see, I've got we know that the wind is at our tail, right? 050 at 18 knots. So on the base leg right here, left base, the wind is off our tail. 050 is over here. And so I know it's blowing me back towards, or it's blowing me out this way, so I want to turn in earlier. I want to turn in earlier because the wind is going to blow me over, and the wind's also going to wind up in the Caribbean Sea if I don't stop doing what I'm doing here. So this is curious. What is going on here? Yep, Carb Ice. Look at that. Carb Ice, look at that. Little bugger. So now we're going to want to climb up. You can get Carb Ice anytime. So the air flowing through your carburetor can drop as much as 70 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, there we go. And so if it's 90 degrees out and the air flowing through your carburetor drops 70 degrees, what's the temperature of the air going through your carburetor? 70 degrees, or 20 degrees rather. 90 minus 70 is what? 20. Can water freeze at 20 degrees? Yes, it can. Alright, so I'm gonna be pretty militant right now about two things. Staying on center line, and I don't want to see a third red light. Keep an eye on that airspeed. Alright. Mixtures and props full forward. Fuel pumps are on. Flaps are set. I know it says it's indicating up, but it's actually down. 80 knots I'm very happy with. I've got the fuel. I've got the carb heat on. I know that. But that's okay because I want to make sure that my engines don't quit. Alright. Got the field made. I'm going to stay a little bit left of center line, if anything, because we're going to kick out the crab to the right. Alright, there's a settle, settle, settle. There we go. There we go. Alright, I'm going to go. Oh, I just got a review. How about that? Alright, make sure. That's what happened. And that can happen, by the way, if you start looking down when you're supposed to be flying. Alright. Mixtures and props full forward. Pumps are on. Flap set for takeoff. I'm going to keep an eye out for. And this is the carb temp. Oh, I forgot I have a carb temp gauge in this airplane. Gotta keep an eye on that. I didn't check my roll the aileron correction out as you're picking up speed. Let's not hit anything here. So I forgot that I have a carb temp gauge in this airplane. But that was definitely carb ice. I mean, as I looked down, I had mixtures and props pegged. There's a great little bakery right. Where is it? You're right. I think it's back. Actually, as a matter of fact, whoops. There's 1,000 feet AG. I will turn the fuel pumps off. Alright. Little bakery is right in there. Great little bakery. This is called Caribbean VFR. It's 1,500 feet. Power back. Bring the props back. So I'm keeping an eye right there on that carb ice gauge, carb temp gauge. Flaps are not up. Looking for the bakery rather than flying the airplane. It's a little French bakery. This is the Dutch side of the island, but it's a fantastic little French bakery. Alright, this is getting a little perilous here. It's windy. It is windy. Alright, fuel pumps are off. Flaps are good. So So this is what we call Caribbean VFR, which is, you know, it's pretty VFR, relatively VFR. Okay. TFFG. Okay. So far driver performance is great. Pilot performance has been marginal. At best. This driver actually, to me, so far actually feels better than, oh come on. Actually feels better than the previous one. Okay. Okay, we're starting to see it out here. I don't know if we're going to see Sugarloaf. Let's bug our runway heading here. Jim Bridgman, I'm still doing it, buddy. Alright. Alright. This is what my instructor would refer to as the pucker factor. A little bit of a pucker factor involved in this flight. So we're going to reduce power but hold altitude. We get back into lap range at 110 knots. 115. Oh, I think. That's it right there. First notch of flaps, we'll go a few pumps on. Yeah, here we go. There we go, second latch of flaps. We'll go props full forward right now because I'm not going to be messing around here. Alright, I want to trim for this airspeed. I want to trim for 80. I think we've got a decent headwind here. Trimmed out, and nose still wants to drop. See, when you have your runway heading bugged like this, the runway's 10, I've got it bugged at 100. It just gives you a visual reference that you can see. That island right there, we're supposed to be at 800 feet. A little bit high. That wind is basically, it's a really pretty good left to right crosswind. I still have to get out to my left here a little bit. Come back in. Yeah, we're definitely low here. Alright. Alright, mixtures and props full forward, fuel pumps around, flaps are set, seatbelts are secure, gear is down and welded. One thing I gotta remember is that when I drop the nose, speed is going to pick up quick, so I got to be ready. This is a crap approach. This deserves nothing less than a go around. But right here in a little bit, we gotta get serious here. This is going to be juicy getting in here. Now we got to really bring the power out, because once we start going downhill here, we're going to be picking up airspeed and energy, neither of which I really want to do. And isn't ideal. We might get away with this. Power's all the way out. Alright, settle. Settle. Oh, I just ballooned. It's alright. I mean, the reason technically that's a go around. Technically that was a go around from my final, but with the headwind, I knew I had a really strong headwind, which is going to help us slow down. I also knew that this airplane is very capable of slowing down very quickly. So it's it's your classic case of don't do what I'm doing. That was not how it's done. That really wasn't acceptable, to be honest. Alright, we're going to dive away. This is a quartering tailwind now. And a quartering tailwind, which is, it's from over here blowing this way. So you dive away from that quartering tailwind. lean the mixtures. I'm gonna do all kinds of things that I tell you not to do right now. This is how not to fly. What? Did I lean the mixtures too much? Possible. Let's see if it was good. Okay, let's go toes on the brakes here. Alright, we got everything we need. Let's go fuel pumps back on. Oh wait, you know what? This might be the first flight that we end on St. Bart's runway. Alright, I don't know why they just quit. But they did. Alright. So we'll come up here. And I'm using the Bijan or Bijan tree mod, which is truly superb. And so that approach right there, you could really tell how much better the flight physics are in Flight Sim 24 compared to 2020. In 2020 with that wind, it would just have been a kite. You'd have just been chucked around. And that was really pretty. I mean, I was slow right when we got into the slot. I was slow, and that was a little bit dicey, but I would have expected a lot more getting thrown around there. Alright, mixtures to idle, cutoff throttles are idle, external power supply off. Let's go. Lights off, parking brake is set. We'll go avionics master off before we turn the mags off. So mags off, flaps I put up already. We'll turn off the fuel pumps, and master and battery switches off. We'll go boarding steps. We'll go chocks. We'll open the doors. And I've also got what's that program? FS Realistic Pro up and running now too, it's on sale right now, by the way. It's a good deal. So here we are in St. Bart's, and I mean the flight was a success. The driver is great. If you're here for the driver's great. My flying was a little bit marginal, but I tell you what, Flight Sim 24 looks spectacular, especially with the tree mod, getting the correct, you know, shrubbery and trees and such down here. Looks fantastic. Loving FS Realistic, and loving the Caribbean. It's just looking so nice, and the driver was flawless. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we will talk soon.